Let's talk about this toy here that never got released by Kenner. First, let's go back to 1975. Jaws became a monster hit, or should I say it became a shark hit. Jaws was the big summer movie. It kicked off the summer blockbuster. And of course, everyone wanted to make money on Jaws. They were shirts, they were rubber sharks. And of course, probably the most famous toy related for Jaws merchandise is Idol's Jaws game. This was a game with a shark on it, and you would put pieces, you would have pieces in its mouth and try to pull them out before the jaws of the jaws clamp shut on you. And this toy sold huge. Almost every kid in the mid 70s had this, or at least wanted it. While Ideal was raking in the money, Kenner was over there scratching their head. What could they do? They wanted the next summer blockbuster. And then in 1977, of course, they got Star Wars. But at the time of 1977, they didn't know Star Wars would be the next big hit. So they were looking at other movies to bring over, at least to their game side division. So they looked to see what the next blockbuster horror film was that was coming out. And they saw that a movie was coming out for 1977 that was saying they were going to do what Jaws did for the ocean to the roads. This movie, of course, was called The Car, starring James Brolin. Yes, you know, Thanos' dad. So what was this movie, The Car? Well, think Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, but without a driver. This was a car, no driver at all, and his favorite thing to do besides eat gas was run down people, kill people walking in the streets.
There was no driver in the car.
The car possessed.
I know why he didn't go into the cemetery. The ground was hallowed.
Although the movie seems very violent, it is a PG movie, unlike Jaws, which was rated R. So Kenner thought, hey, with this hit movie this summer, we're gonna make a lot of money selling The Car game. So what exactly was this game? It was a very simple game to play. You put the car at the top of the ramp. Players would take their turn spinning a wheel, and then you would select objects to be placed at the bottom of the ramp. The weight of those objects would set off a trigger holding the car, and the player who set off that trigger became the victim. But it seems like everyone was a winner because everyone would be thrilled to watch the car speed down the ramp and crash through all the items that was placed in front of it. There were park benches, street signs, and all kinds of stuff, but no humans. And I don't know about you, if this thing got released, believe me, my Star Wars action figures would have been placed in front of it. And the car would have slammed into a hammerhead, no doubt about it. Sadly, the game was never released, and as far as anyone's ever seen is this ad. No prototype or anything has ever been discovered. But it looks like a lot of fun. These kids don't know how lucky they were. They got to play with this toy that never ever got released. Or either that, or they just sat in front of this blue table and made a goofy face, and then someone airbrushed a prototype of the game in front of them. Because it looks kind of like a drawing. But as you can see, a prototype must have been made, because this doesn't look like artwork, and it's got a little hand showing you how it works. And it got as far as a box being designed. So this thing was very close from being released. If your sister's cousin's nephew, roommate's brother-in-law work at Kenner and he has this in his basement, let me know. Now if you're a fan of this movie, you might know that Earl, I think that's how you say it, E-R-T-L, Earls? I never knew how to pronounce it. Anyway, in 2003, they released a toy of the car, and that replica today sells for a few $100s on eBay. So why didn't Kenner release this toy? As violent as it seems for a toy released by a toy company, but I guess it's not much different than a shark that tries to eat little kids' hands off. Although there's no official information of why this toy never got released, we can only assume it's due to the box office of the film. The movie wasn't the big summer blockbuster that Kenner had hoped for. The film was panned by critics, but what do the critics know, right? It got a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie only made about $2 million. Now, couldn't really find out what the budget was, but still, 2000 wasn't a big hit for sure in 1977. In fact, in the top movies of the year, it was number 70, so that should tell you, even with profit, how big of a success this movie was. But the movie has gone to have kind of a cult classic. And it's become one of those movies that's so bad, it's so enjoyable to watch. And there was actually a sequel made to it in 2019, 42 years after the original release of The Car, called Car: Road to Revenge. Never saw it, don't know when, never even heard of it until I made this video. But James Brolin The Car is a cult classic. And it's too bad that we never got the Kenner game, because it looked like a lot of fun. It looks like one of those games I wouldn't really play as the game the way the instructions told me to. I would put the car on the ramp, find whatever I could in my room to stand up in front of it, and let it cruise down the ramp and bust into anything. Sadly, it never got released. No prototypes or anything has ever been found of it. But who knows? Maybe in someone's basement, it's sitting there today, just waiting to go down a hill once again.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.